hyperpigmentation was caused by acne. I
Mm-hmm.
never had teenage acne, but during my adulthood, I would have 5 to 10 every month. And it just became so much, it accumulated into so many dark spots. At the time, we didn't know. I thought squeezing it, popping it was taking care of it, not knowing that I was causing more, inflammation, which then healed into deeper and darker hyperpigmentation. I was totally insecure about my face. I couldn't go anywhere without concealer or just trying to hide. I'd invested so much in makeup. Another cost I would say is I never wore sunscreen. The first time I wore sunscreen was in 2011.
Okay.
So all my life I never wore sunscreen, and I'm pretty sure that contributed to it because I had lots of dark patches around my eyes, around my nose, around my lips. So I would say it's lack of education about how to take care of your skin. That's what really causes my
And I think a lot of people don't realize that UV, sun exposure can worsen pigmentation.
So now we know that with hyperpigmentation, it's so difficult to treat. Your best bet is preventing it. Once you already have, you want to make sure you have a routine, a product, anything to make sure it's not getting worse and you're not getting new ones. First of all, I try to, speak to dermatologists. When you have a major issue, you want to speak with the professionals. So I had like 2 or 3 appointments with 2 different dermatologists. I went to 2 or 3 estheticians. So I was enlightened. Honestly, they didn't give me anything that worked for me, but speaking to them really put me in the direction to what to do, because I know it's not one size fits all. The information, the knowledge that I gathered from them, I did my own research and I was able to create a routine for myself. And I got burns, but that was the errors, the burn. It's a learning curve. Honestly, when I started my skincare routine, it's like my skin went 10 times worse. When I became very diligent with my skincare routine, I used a cleanser from a local brand. The esthetician that I saw, she had a cleanser called Clear and Hydrate. And I started to use that. That was more like a repairing cleanser. It was a cleanser that looked like a mask. So it didn't have any soap or anything because my skin was so inflamed. I jumped onto hydroquinone, I jumped onto retinol, I jumped onto glycolic acid during my search for a solution. I just used all these things. And then at that point, my skin was inflamed. So the routine had to be a very gentle one. I had a PCA hydrating toner, PCA skin hydrating toner. I had that in my routine and it really helped. I still use it. So I use the Potent C Vitamin C Serum by Peter Thomas. Just because my skin was so sensitive, I couldn't use the traditional vitamin C serums. It will burn literally. I couldn't just have it on my skin. But I no longer use it now because, of course, skin is good, skin is healthy and resilient. So I can use a lot more stronger products now. But at the time, I would say the gentle cleanser, the PCA skin toner, Potent C Vitamin C serum. I use the Elta MD UV Clear. I went through about 2 or 3 bottles of that. Nighttime routine will be to double cleanse. I tried the oil cleansing, it didn't work for me because I was acne prone. I'm still acne prone. If I use anything off the hook, I break out. So the oil cleansing didn't work. So I used the micellar water for my first cleanse. And then I use the same cleanser I used in the morning for my second cleanse. Then I would do the hydrating toner, which really calms my skin. I love the toner so much. And then I'll go in with PM therapy from Elta MD at the time, but I didn't use it for too long. That was just a routine that helped me to recover my skin before I could actually use treatment that would actually work. So if you're dealing with anything, those things will not really help you. It's such a gentle routine to just get you through that difficult phase. My skin barrier was a mess.
Okay, so then how long would you say it took for you to kind of like repair your skin barrier and then move on?
About 6 months.
6 months, okay.
For the first 3 months, I couldn't use anything. After about 3 months, I was able to add Obagi vitamin C serum.
Mm-hmm.
That was a much more stronger vitamin C serum. It has 15% ascorbic acid. So I started that for morning only.
Mm-hmm.
And then it did help my skin, you know, it gave the skin a good glow. I could see that it was working.
Mm-hmm.
But after using that for about 2 months, skin became dry. And then
Mm-hmm.
I became confused. How did I go from super oily skin to dry skin? And that's because, you know, the vitamin C was working, but it had so much alcohol in it, and it was stripping my skin.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I had to change again. So it was a journey of about 6 months before I was finally able to actually stick to a routine that was working.
What would you say were some products that kind of helped you to clear the acne and the hyperpigmentation?
With hyperpigmentation, you want to take care of the cost before you actually treat the pigmentation. So I had to invest so much time to make sure acne was controlled. So there are two products that I can say really helped with my acne. A toner from Obagi. It's really good. I still use it. I would use that every morning. And at that point, I had to take out the vitamin C serum because I couldn't use it with the vitamin C serum for my AM routine.
Okay.
So that was another routine I had to, you know, switch between for around that time of the month, because my acne isn't all the time. It's just around that time of the month. So I would use the toner. Sometimes I would do a sulfur mask at night. Just use a sulfur ointment that's sold on Amazon for about $7 or $10.
Mm-hmm.
It's an acne treatment. I would use a mask. There are other brands that do sulfur treatment, but I feel I don't need to spend so much on sulfur because I know it's a cheap ingredient.
Mm-hmm.
So I used that at night and it worked a lot. And before I knew it, it will come to that time of the month and I just won't get any acne.
Okay, so how long would you say it took for your acne to, for you to kind of see some results with the acne?
The acne, that was pretty fast. Within the first month, and it was a good space for someone that was dealing with 5, 10 every month.
Yeah.
To only have 1 or 2 and even get through some months without any acne at all.
So what did you use to fade the dark spots?
4 products that I've used so far. I think they've all worked. The improvement is not obvious, but I would say I started, there's a retinol product from Skin Medica. I started with the 0.25 for a month. And then at the second month, I graduated to 0.5 retinol from Skin Medica. I used that every night. Of course, I started once a week and then twice a week and then 3 times a week up until the point where I could use it every night. That really helped with my texture because I had acne bumps on my face. The retinol from Skin Medica really helped, but I knew that I had to go to the prescription strength to really treat my acne. I know acne comes from the inside, and what you put on top doesn't really do much. It can help you manage it, but it's just for a short period of time. Now I use a retinol, a prescription strength 0.225, which is still the lowest, but I would rather use a lower concentration that I can use every day than use a higher concentration that you can only use once a week. It's a tretinoin prescription strength every night for the last 1 year, and it's been one of the best decisions I made for my skin. I use 2 pigment inhibitors.
Okay.
I use Skin Medica Lightera 2.0. I use that on top of my vitamin C every morning.
Okay.
I started using that about 4 months ago, and I've seen tremendous improvement. Another product that I can say really helped my hyperpigmentation would be a vitamin C serum, the SkinCeuticals vitamin C serum. By itself, it didn't do anything for my skin, but when I pair it with the pigment inhibitor, the Lightera 2.0, it's amazing. So right now, my routine is basically targeted towards preventing issues as well as clearing the existing issue. The existing issue being hyperpigmentation. It's not completely gone, I still have it. It's just not as obvious as it was, but they're still very faint on my skin. So I have the Skin Medica in my skincare routine. I use that every morning. I struggle with exfoliation, glycolic acid, lactic acid. They burn my skin. They give me more pigmentation. So I've resorted to using physical exfoliants that are very gentle. There are a few ones out there that have very round, smooth particles, so they're less likely to cause any scratch for your skin. So I really don't do a lot of exfoliation. When I don't do a lot of chemical exfoliation, just because it doesn't work for my skin. But that's really great. I've recommended it to a bunch of people. You know, my result got a lot of people asking me questions, and I've been able to help a lot of my friends and family, and they do well with chemical exfoliant. I just don't use it.
Yeah.
But in the right concentration, depending on your skin type, I think it's going to be very helpful, because exfoliation is a key part of clearing hyperpigmentation, you know, because you need to get it off. You need to get off dead skin cells. So that's something that works. But right now I use an exfoliant. It's a physical exfoliant. It's from a small brand called Clarista. It's a gel physical exfoliant, and I really like it. That helps with the exfoliation. I have a tretinoin. You know, tretinoin exfoliates as well.
Yeah.
So if you have a tretinoin in your routine, you don't really need a traditional chemical exfoliant. But if you must, then you just have to balance it. So my routine right now is a gentle cleanse, a hydrating toner. Occasionally, 2-3 times a week, I'll do a gel exfoliant. The gel exfoliant has scrubs in it, so it's a physical exfoliant. And then I'll do vitamin C serum. I'm a huge fan of vitamin C serum. I know some people don't believe in it, but I use it and it's been good for my skin. And then I'll do the Lightera 2.0. Become a queen of sunscreen. I use it every morning. It's in my bag, it's in my car. I reapply every 2 to 3 hours. You know, and that has really helped.
Do you still use the Elta MD sunscreen?
No, yeah. No. Oh, I've used more than 20 sunscreens since then, because I'm always on the lookout for what's new, what's good.
Yes.
My skin is reactive, so I don't do well with chemical sunscreens. Not that I don't use it at all, but I would rather use the physical sunscreen, the mineral ones. And you know, the white cast, I don't want to look ghosty. So every time there's a new sunscreen out there, if it's a mineral sunscreen and has any claims, I'm on it, I'm trying it. If it works, I'll use it for a while. If I find something else, I'm jumping.
Yeah.
Sunscreen is one of those things that you really don't have to stick to, because it's it's to prevent your skin from issues.
And I know you rotate between mineral sunscreens, but I could already see somebody like typing in the comments, like, which sunscreens are your favorites? Like, so what are some of your favorite mineral sunscreens?
Skin Medica has a sunscreen SPF 36. I don't think that's enough SPF. So I would say if you want to try the Skin Medica, you want to try to make sure you're reapplying if you're going to be in the sun. And that's why I use the Color Science Unforgettable SPF 50. Okay. They have a glow tint and a bronze tint. I'm dark, so I use the bronze tint, and that works pretty well. It's nice under makeup. You can even skip your foundation and just go in with a nice bronzing powder. That works pretty nice on brown skin. So I would say that's my favorite sunscreen right now, but I switch every now and then. So that's been my routine so far. I don't skip my nighttime routine. I never skip it, no matter how tired I am. And I have a peptide in my routine too for anti-aging. You know, I'm 36 now, so I have 2 babies. I need to start focusing on the aging. Yeah. Because I'm beginning to see a little bit of the lines. I also use an eye cream. I didn't mention that. I use an eye cream, not because I have anything around my eyes, but I use it as a protective measure. Because you may not have anything now, but as you age, things will happen. So I use an eye cream. It's cheap. It's from Rock. It's just $16. And it works fine. That's something I spend on lunch, on Uber, or anything. The drawbacks that I went through is one of those things that I think can be avoided if you have someone guiding you, if you have a good esthetician, or you're very diligent with looking at the INCI list. For me, I never knew I had issues with fragrances and skincare. I loved fragrances. Matter of fact, I will buy it because of the smell. You know, it was a huge learning curve for me to realize that my skin doesn't do too well with fragrances. And that was my biggest drawback. A bunch of the product that I used had fragrance, and I had contact dermatitis, which took literally forever to get treated. So that was something. So you want to make sure you're patch testing, and that doesn't really work. Sometimes you put it everywhere and it's fine, and then you use it on your face, there's an issue. So I think the chit chat for this one would be very observant with how your skin behaves when you use a product. So watch how your skin looks like, and then with that, you'll be able to figure out what works and what doesn't work.